There we go. Awesome. So I just wanted to get on everybody's radars that Law Club leadership elections for president and vice president will take place on April 7th. So that'll be during a regularly scheduled meeting. We'll just, carve out a few minutes to do that. Not entirely exactly sure how that's going to look yet. Still have to talk with Pat Danae on logistics. So when I find out more, I'll let you know. But we will actually vote on the 7th, April 7th. And the deadline to be on that ballot is going to be March 31st. So just keep that in mind. And if you want to be on the ballot, I would like you to send me an email with your name and the position that you are applying for.
That's for next year. Or this.
Yes. School year of, what is it, 25, 26?
Yeah.
So yes, president and vice president elections.
Aaron, I'll be your Joe to your Obama.
And then next thing is we will have a guest speaker. Her name is Pam. She's the director of admissions and records at UND Law. She'll just be coming in on Zoom. So instead of driving out here, she'll just join us over Zoom. And she actually did let me know that I think February 24th is when she's going to be here. So we'll let her have probably the full hour. There's a lot to talk about with how the admissions process looks and everything. And then also we can have kind of a Q&A with her, and she is very open and transparent. And then we are discussing when we were gonna, I already put it on her radar that we were planning on doing another UND visit in March or April. I think that's what I kind of said. Kind of want to wait till it's a little bit nicer. So the only thing that I wanted to know on that was the last time we went was on a Friday, and they don't have classes on Fridays, or they don't have afternoon classes.
It was
just morning.
I think it was MCAs. It was like it wasn't like we didn't have class either that day.
I think she had said that on Friday afternoons they don't do classes.
I thought it was just because it was a Friday we didn't have class. It was the 18th of October.
Yeah, that was MEA break for
MEA.
our fall break.
And they were also on MEA.
If we're able to do it not on a Friday, we could have those who possibly come even sit in on class. That's what she said. They don't have classes Fridays.
That could be kind of cool though.
So if we went not on a Friday, then we could go sit in on a class, which is really cool. I have done that. It's very interesting. So yeah, we would just have to plan for
April 2nd, we don't have class and it's a Wednesday.
I believe that's Student Achievement Day.
It is.
Oh, so you still have to
That's
be.
not.
Well, we have a little bit of time to figure that out. Still.
Yeah, for sure. When is Student Achievement Day? April 2nd. So yeah. All right, that's just all the announcements that I had. Good, it only took a few minutes. Did everybody get a packet? Awesome. And then does everybody have a pencil? I can borrow a pencil if no, it doesn't have.
I got you, Caroline.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And let me know if that one's weird. Sometimes they're kind of janky. Righty, so the way that I was kind of planning on doing this was just kind of group discussion based. Just looking at it question by question and talking through. What do you guys think? Does that sound, you guys, did everybody take a look at it briefly for the most part? Okay. So first, we can just all take a look at the first question. I'll just read it out loud first. Altogether, the students in Miss Arnowoski's Milton Elementary School class collected more aluminum cans than did the students in any of the school's other classes. Therefore, the Milton student who collected the most aluminum cans was in Miss Tarnowski's class. Which of the following arguments contains flawed reasoning that is most parallel to that in the argument above? All right, so we'll just go through and just kind of say what you guys thought it was. Did anybody go with A?
I think A.
Think A?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because it's like kind of redundant. Altogether, more trees were planted by students in Mr. Kelly's class than were planted by those in Mr. Leang's class and Miss Jackson's class combined. Therefore, Mr. Kelly's class students planted more trees than Miss Jackson's students planted.
Yeah, so this one does look like a good argument. However, guys, I don't have all the answers, but I'm just reading on. If Miss Kelly's kids planted more trees than two classes combined, then they must have planted more trees than either class separately. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what's the answer?
It's not. It looks like a good argument.
Okay.
Are we looking like choosing?
Yeah, so we can cross off A. So B. Anybody want that one? Nobody? So this one says that this is a bad argument, but this one's flaw is different. The argument ignores the possibility that many kids both play in the band. Oh wait, are we talking about band choir? Wait, what?
Each one has a different thing going on.
Oh, okay.
We're just looking at the argument that contains like the most similar flawed reason.
Oh, guys, I forgot. Okay, yeah. Yes, so it says that this is a bad argument, but the flaw is different. Argument ignores the possibility that many kids both play in the band and sing in the choir. Then there could also be some kids in neither group. So that one's why it's not. Anybody went with C? So that one is also incorrect. It says that this is a bad argument, but a different flaw. We don't know how much raffle tickets and candy bars cost. If raffle tickets cost 5 cents, Miss Hunt's class might have sold more individual items, but raised less money. So that is why C is incorrect. All right, did anybody go with D? Awesome. D is the correct answer. This letter choice repeats the error exactly. Just because a group is on average higher doesn't mean the highest seller is part of that group. And then on E, that's another thing about the LSAT. It's not just ABC. No, it's ABC. So gotta just ruin your chances. Gotta not make it a 25% chance. Like really. So on E, this one looks like a good argument. However, it says they had more bird houses divided by fewer students, so they must have had the highest average. Oh, and I was say too that this question type, if you want to write it down, is flawed parallel reasoning. the conclusion is this. Oh, that's another good thing to look out for. That's a huge thing, is finding the conclusions. Does anybody know in this paragraph here where the conclusion is?
The sentence that starts with in the question. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, I thought we were working on one.
No, yeah, we are. Yeah.
Okay.
I was
What was
just,
your question?
yeah. It was just worded differently here. You're correct.
Okay.
Yeah. It just says on here. Oh, it just did the last part, so like it just has it as the student who collected the most aluminum cans was in Miss Turner Lawson's class.
I love the interesting names.
I know. So yes, question 2. Does anybody want to go ahead and read that one aloud?
I can. Okay, Economist says, the economy seems to be heading out of recession. Recent figures show that consumers are buying more durable goods than before, indicating that they expect economic growth in the near future. That consumers are buying more durable goods than before figures in the economist's argument in which of the following ways? I had to read that like 6 times.
I know. That's the thing that sucks about this the most, is that you do feel the need to like reread, but when it does come time to the test time, there is no time to reread.
So you're timed for the whole thing?
Yeah. There
Did
is.
you like average out how long it needs to take you per question?
Well, you get 25 minutes,
Each
or
section.
sorry, 35 minutes. You get 35 minutes on each section, and each section about 25 to 27.
Yeah, minute.
Yeah, a little less than.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so yeah. This question type is role in argument. Does anybody know where the conclusion is on this one?
Indicating that they expect economic growth in the near future.
This one is actually the first sentence. That the conclusion that they're getting at is that the economy seems to be heading out of a recession. And then following is the evidence that supports that conclusion.
What kind of question type was it?
Role in argument. So, I almost just said number A. Letter A, it is the phenomenon, guys, I can't say today, phenomenon that the argument seeks to explain. So did anybody go with that one? No? That one is incorrect. B, its truth is required in order for the argument's conclusion to be true. C, it is oh wait, sorry. Go through why that is.
We can go through at the end too.
Okay. C, it is an inference drawn from the premise that the recession seems to be ending. Anybody with that one? C?
I did, but I think I misread the question earlier when I was trying to do this.
Okay. So yeah, that one's not correct. It says that it gets it backwards. This fact about consumers lets us deduce,
Yeah.
that the recession will soon end. So, D, it is an inference drawn from the premise that consumers expect economic growth in the future.
Well, I think like coming from our conclusion. Like they start with the conclusion and then they end with this is what we expect.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't have a huge rationale.
No, of course, yeah.
I the same thought process. I was like, the first sentence kind of gave us like, this is what we think, this is why, this is what we hope for.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely get that, but it's unfortunate. It says that this is backwards. We can guess that consumers expect growth because they buy more durable goods.
So it's
It's E. E will be the correct answer. That one says.
oh, you know what it
This fact about consumers tells us they expect growth and therefore the recession might end.
I was reading it as a whole. I didn't just look at just that like that sentence.
Right.
That makes sense.
And then it also says that this, the argument structure for this one is kind of a flowing diagram. So it's kind of like A to the arrow, B to the arrow, C. So like they all kind of flow because A happened, it led to B, it led to C. So it says consumers buy goods. This means they expect growth. This means the recession will probably end. The fact that consumers are buying durable goods is evidence that supports it. Awesome. Okay, 3. Francis, failure to become properly registered to vote prevents 1/3 of the voting age citizens of Lugonia from voting. If local election boards made the excessively cumbersome registration process easier, more people would register to vote. Sharon, the high number of citizens not registered to vote has persisted despite many attempts to make registering easier. Surveys show that most of these citizens believe that their votes would not make a difference. Until that belief is changed, simplifying the registration process will not increase the percentage of citizens registering to vote. Main issue in dispute between Francis and Sharon is A, whether changing the voter registration process would be cumbersome. Can you say that one? Good. That one's not right. It's for that one, it just says neither of them say how hard it would be to change voter registration, technically part of the voting process. That's parentheses. But also I forgot to say the question type. This one is point at issue. And this one, we can obviously see two different arguments are being made. Francis's argument and Sharon's argument. Francis thinks more people would vote if we made registration easier, and Sharon thinks that non-voters wouldn't vote even if registration were easier. They have to be convinced their votes will make a difference. So B says, why so many citizens do not register to vote?
I think it's me.
It's B, that's correct. Francis thinks people don't register because it's hard. Sharon thinks they don't register because they don't care. For point at issue questions, so these same kind of things where you see these two arguments and they want you to figure out what they're arguing about. Focus on something that both of the people mention. Generally, wrong answers talk about things only one person mentions. Or, yeah. Does anybody want to go ahead and read that one?
I could read it. The Greek alphabet must have been invented by some individual who knew the Phoenician writing system and who wanted to have some way of recording Homerific epics and thereby preserving expression of highly developed tradition of oral poetry. P. Your hypothesis is laughable. What would have been the point of such a person's writing Homeric epics down? Surely a person who knew them well enough to write them down would not need to read them, and no one else could read them, according to your hypothesis. Which one of the following argument strategies that P uses to responding to N?
Awesome. So this question type is flawed reasoning.
Is it A? Because he's immediately attacking his hypothesis by saying it's laughable rather than like challenging it or actually wait. Yeah, no. Wait, no. No, I'm gonna stick with A. Is it E? Because he did actually provide an alternative interpretation of evidence. Sorry.
No, I love this. You're talking it through. Keep talking it through. 'Cause
Yeah,
you're-
I think it's E because at first I thought because he immediately used the word laughable, but then there is, if you look at the third sentence, he does give an alternative solution. So I think it's E.
Did anybody else go with E? Oh, stupid. Good job, Lena. I love that talking through. Did you guys see that? At first, she thought it was A. She was gonna tell me why she thought it was A, and then you switched and went with the correct answer. That's awesome.
Guys.
So with A, it actually says that this is a criticism of just N's argument. P didn't mention. What is it? Well,
Phoenician.
Sorry, guys. P didn't mention Phoenician, so that's why it's. And then P never says what the first Greek text was. P doesn't mention what oral language or written language needs. And P didn't show anything was possible in D. Recap. The question begins. Okay.
What kind of question is this?
Flawed reasoning. Awesome. Number 5.
I can read number 5.
Awesome.
In an effort to boost sales during the summer months, which are typically the best for soft drink sales, foamy soda lowered its prices. In spite of this, however, the sales of foamy soda dropped during the summer months. Each of the following, if true, contributes to reconciling the apparent discrepancy indicated above, except.
All right, so this one is paradox and then a dash and an exception. Because there's paradox where it would be, which of the following, if true, indicated above. And then this one has the except. So that's why it's a subgrouping of paradox. So yeah, that's definitely something big, and why they bold it, that except, because it often gets missed. You start reading the questions, you go down, you see one, circle it, move on, and then shoot, it's accept. Yeah, that happens. So yeah, don't forget that. The paradox here is that foamy soda lowered prices during the busy summer months, but sales fell. So on here, there are many reasons to explain why foamy lost sales. There's not much work you can do on this question before looking at the answers. So just going through them. A. Anybody go with A?
I did.
You did?
I was like, I almost didn't answer this one.
So that was like
my maybe like guess. I think I don't know. I just read through all of them. And I feel like every single one could be an attributing factor to why the sales dropped. Like I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that one is like because we're specifically talking about foamy soda, maybe the fact that the whole industry. Okay, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. That's my guessing. Like maybe it's too broad.
Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying. Yeah. But this one actually says that it's not, A is not the right answer. It says that when it says this, the soft drink industry as a whole experienced depressed sales during the summer months, this just shows that Foamy had bad luck. The entire industry had bad sales.
So it's not directly towards foamy. So basically, we need to look for the answer that would only affect them independently.
Yes.
Oh.
So then would it be B?
It says it's option C. It says it's not D because it says. It says it's not D because you can't buy foamy soda if no one's selling it.
But C, because of an increase, price of sweeteners.
Oh wait, did you say?
I said D.
Yeah, and it is C. It is C.
Why is it C?
Because this would lower Foamy's profits, but it shouldn't affect how many people buy soda. Consumers don't care about the production costs.
Okay, yeah.
The only thing I don't understand is the first, so A wouldn't have made sense to begin with, because that's an impossible way to know. Like, I know it's
Yeah.
not right, but it's impossible to know if the whole industry was failing.
Right.
But aren't all the questions hypotheticals? Like would we not know anyways? Or am I flawed in that?
Not necessarily. Yeah.
Okay.
The reason why this actually makes sense how I reread it is because it specifically only affects like the production, not like how much shipment they're making. And so we're looking at profit just as like like they lowered their prices, people are buying it, but they still went down lower. But because profit of sweetener went up, but for example, if they couldn't do as much shipment, they would have less product. So then they'd have less profit from like consumers. So this was completely a production issue, nothing with consumers.
Oh.
So if the industry as a whole experienced a depressed summer, that would be the consumerism thing.
okay.
Just like competitors. And so it's just affecting their production.
Okay.
So that's where. That's what I'm.
I don't know. I just had a hard time. I guess I totally see that now. But
It's also just sometimes easier to talk it out.
yeah, but like trying to like I couldn't find a connection between all the other ones then because those are obviously all right. Like I was just having a hard time like connecting those.
Yeah.
I don't know.
On E, it says it wasn't Foamy's prices, but rather the weather that caused the sales to fall.
Oh,
D says you can't buy Foamy soda if no one's selling it. Because that was the one about the strike. And then A was the bad luck, and then B
so
was.
it has to be directly related to the price change. Like,
Yeah.
that's why this.
I feel like that's the main thing about they want you to single out basically one specific element and apply it. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, for sure.
Based on that's what I noticed from the last question so far. So
6. Does anybody want to go on and read that one?
do you want to read it?
Number 6.
Yep.
K, a research scientist, was accused of having falsified laboratory data. Although the original data in question have disappeared, Data from K's more recent experiments have been examined, and clearly none of them were falsified. Therefore, the accusation should be dismissed.
And then just read the question.
Which one of the following contains questionable reasoning that is most similar to that in the argument above?
Now, based off of that, what the question's asking, does anybody know what the question type is? We have had this question type before.
In this one.
Yes,
It's the
Parallel reasoning.
yes, this one is flawed parallel reasoning. So.
Do you only look for the conclusion with flawed parallel reasoning? Or is there other ones too?
There's more,
yeah, we
there's
looked at
a lot.
in the rule and argument, there's a conclusion.
I would say they usually have some sort of. Except for like,
Is the conclusion the accusation should be dismissed?
yes. A. Oh, these are really long. An accountant was charged with having embezzled funds from a client. Charge should be ignored, however, because although that's something that they use a lot, because although, like, what does that even mean? That's just really to try to mess with you. That's like one of those things that they,
So devious.
yeah, like the wording that they put. Because although the records that might reveal this embezzlement have been destroyed, records of L's current clients show clearly that there has never been any embezzlement. Did anybody go with that? That one's the correct answer. So it says just because L is sometimes honest doesn't mean that L is always honest in the past. Maybe L just destroyed the incriminating records and decided to stop embezzling.
Turned a new leaf.
Oh, seven. Does anybody want to go for that one?
I do it. Psychiatrist. We are learning that neurochemical imbalances can cause behavior ranging from extreme mental illness to less serious but infuriating behavior, such as obsessive fantasizing, petulance, or embarrassment. These findings will promote compassion and tolerance when looking at mental illness, quirk, or mere difference between two persons, since being mentally healthy can now begin to be seen as simply having the same neurochemical balances as most people. Which one of the following most accurately expressed the conclusion of the psychiatrist's argument?
So this one, the question type is literally just identify the conclusion. This is the easiest question type on the entire LSAT is find the conclusion. That's why I was kind of guys do it before, because that's like a base, like a building block that you can build on to help you answer questions. So, did anybody go with A? Why?
It just seemed like talked about like compassion tolerance when looking at the illnesses and then just the roles of the.
You guys.
Did E, I don't know.
I did D.
I did C.
I also did D.
Yeah. um. Yeah, this one is. The answer is A.
It's like really humbling after you just said this with the easiest one.
Once you learn that someone is acting strange because his brain chemicals are off, you'll feel sorry for him and treat him
So it is one side. It's just like that.
So these findings will promote compassion tolerance. And I don't think B through E didn't really mention that little part.
better. Mm.
Too bad.
Yeah, it said, okay, and then the other part that they call it is premise and conclusion. So for B, B is a premise. C, the psychiatrist didn't even say this, so sorry, Lena.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
D, this is also a premise. And E is true, but the psychiatrist's main point is that we will treat people better when we learn the causes of their behavior. So yeah, that empathy apply it. Who wants to go for A?
No one wants this job as much as Joshua does, but he is not applying. It follows that there will not be any applicants, no matter how high the salary is being offered. The flawed reasoning in the argument above most closely parallels that in each one of the following.
And which question type is this one? We haven't had this one.
Flawed parallel reasoning.
Yes. This one's actually, again, the first sentence. No one wants this job as much as Joshua does, but he's not applying for it. And then the rest of the premise that it follows that there will not be any because that's the why. So, did anybody go with A? It says it's not A because it says that it is not a good argument, but it has a different flaw. It only mentions one person. The argument is bad because Beth might still have made a mistake. Maybe go with B. This one says that it's a good argument. Best candidate is disqualified, but the author is aware we might be able to find someone else. That was not the correct answer. So it's a good argument, but it's not correct. Maybe go C. It was C. This repeats the flaw. There might be someone else interested, even if the most likely candidate isn't buying something. D is a plausible argument, but it's correct. And E is a bad argument. Lost it. Nine.
A habitat conservation plan, HCP, is based on a law that allows developers to use land inhabited by endangered species in exchange for a promise to preserve critical habitat or provide replacement land nearby. Some individuals of endangered species are lost in return for assurances by the owner or developer that habitat for those remaining animals will be protected. Environmentalists are pleased that HCPs allow them to win concessions from developers who would otherwise ignore rarely enforce environmental laws. Satisfied property owners prefer HCPs with more restrictive prohibitions of land use. The situation described above most closely conforms to which of the following principles?
So this one is, the question type says principle. Because that's for Joe Collins. And from this, we can get 3 facts. We can get 1, that a new law lets developers use protected land. And if they promise to provide habitats for endangered species elsewhere. The second thing we get is that environmentalists like the reform. And the third thing is that developers like the reform. So analysis would be that this is a win-win situation. Environmentalists and developers are both happy, which is rare. Endangered species will be protected. So, did anybody go with A? This only tells us what environmentalists should do. The stimulus never mentioned legal battles. It just seems that developers would successfully avoid the law, possibly without lawsuits. Did anybody go for B? It's not. It says the stimulus didn't say whether developers should obey laws or only some. Oh, should obey all laws or only some. C, anybody go for C? No, it's not C. Actually, this law seems stronger than normal and it serves everyone's interest. Because it said no one's interest is served well. It serves everyone's interest. Anybody go for D? This law pleases everyone and seems to work better than other laws. And E says we know the new law is better than the old law protecting species, but there might be some even better way to protect species that we haven't tried yet. Anybody want to go for 10?
Director of ACE Manufacturing, our management consultant proposes that we reassign staff so that all employees are doing both what they like to do and what they do well. Thus, she says we'll increase productivity by fully exploiting our available resources. But ACE Manufacturing has a long-standing commitment not to exploit its workers. Therefore, implementing her recommendations would cause us to violate our own policy. The director's argument for rejecting the management consultant's proposal is most vulnerable to criticism on which one of the following.
Does anybody know which question type this one is? I believe we had it. Issue. Log reasoning. We have that in. I think so. Question 4 was okay. And it's super nice to know what the question types are. That is definitely something that I wish that I would have paid more attention to. Because if you do learn all of the different question types, then with that you could also learn how to attack each question type because there is different ways to go about it for each question. Each question type. Does anybody know where the conclusion's at? This one.
The last sentence.
Yeah. Yep, it's the last sentence. Typically, yeah, if it has a therefore, that's typically an indicator for conclusions. Then I'm gonna go for A, failing to distinguish two distinct senses of the term. That is the correct answer. Exploit has a few different meanings. The consultant didn't mean anything sinister. B says the director doesn't mention how frequently anything is done. C, the director doesn't define any term. D, this isn't circular reasoning. And E, the director doesn't change any words around. So, looking ahead at our upcoming things, how did everybody feel about that? Was that good? Was that good to go through together as a group? Did everybody like what I read? Did you do it differently or better?
I liked just like going through it, and I liked the how you pointed out what each question was. I think if we kind of dove into maybe what each question is, I think that would be cool.
Okay.
So maybe doing this is what this question is, this is what it contains, this is a tactic you can use to approach it. You know,
Should we maybe do that for next week?
I think that would be good.
LSAT question types.
Yeah.
101.
I think that'll really help,
You
honestly.
guys can't tell. I like to throw 101 at the end of stuff. If it's ever,
raised on Zoe 101, I
if it's ever informational, I'm like 101. Put 101 on there.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah, that was the show.
and
LSAT question types and how to.
The next one
Approach something. So yeah, I love that. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of question types. So I don't know if I'll be able to get through every single one, but I'll definitely do my research and try to get to see how much I can.
even if you could find a pre-made slideshow.
Yeah.
So that you could just send it, so even if you can't go through the whole thing, you can kind of go through it. Something like that to consider, I think, would be helpful. And also random thing, I think if we do this again, I think highlighters, we should have a much bigger, because it just highlighting certain parts really helps me throughout it. I would just highlight, I would underline certain questions, so I don't know, highlighters, kind of random stuff.
Yeah, no, we may be able to just like buy a set of highlighters and pencils, so just.
Even if like I'm just saying like everyone bring out like you might.
I'm just telling you guys to bring a highlighter.
I just think it might help. Like it. I'm gonna bring a highlighter. So.
I have the erasable highlighters. I got you.
Yeah, like I was just saying like this is a tip from me to you. Like a little piece of me for you to take home tonight.
So next meeting, February 10th, looks like we're gonna try to go through that. And I keep also having on here that we're gonna explore the LSAT website, but never had extra time for it. We could try to do it next week if I have extra time. But I don't know. I would really recommend you guys look at the LSAT website on your own and kind of explore it a little bit because it is such a confusing website and it's like old and they really need to update it. So
I mean, if we don't go through it, just throw it on the agenda.
okay.
You know.
Yeah.
Just so that's like.
And I would just even recommend to like making a LSAT account so that you just already have a login, you get your law number or your what is it called?
You have an LSAT.
You get your like ID number and then like you use that for like, so
Period.
so yeah. I don't think I have much of anything else. Oh, other than Ben, you were not here at the meeting, so I just want to let you know. March 31st is the deadline to be on the ballot for president and vice president, and if you want to be on the ballot
For this?
for this. If you want to be on the ballot, send an email, your name and the position that you want.
Who's presenting?
Me and Aaron. No.
You send me
I like you.
send me an email of your name and the position that
Didn't you see?
you're running for.
Did you see my email?
No, I haven't seen
What's
that.
the club vote?
Yeah, we'll do a club vote. I believe that's.
Woman versus Ben. Okay. Okay.
So yeah, February 10th, we got that, and then the 24th is Zoom with Pam, and then elections, and then the last meeting of the academic year will be the 21st. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meetings left.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Great. You guys have a great evening.
You really need to steal the Senate again.
I'm gonna go. First round was helpful.
Just like imagine.
Yeah.